scat for the bosses. Don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize. Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Phoebe.
Should we catch the listeners up on our life?
I think so. I think
couple weeks.
they deserve it. I think we deserve it.
I think we do.
And I think the people want to know.
I think people want to know.
What's been going on. You know?
Yeah.
Truly. Phoebe had a blast birthday party.
I did.
It was so fun.
Fucking awesome. It was awesome. It turned out exactly how I wanted it to. Yeah, it was a great time.
It was so fun.
Big old warehouse rave. Fucking,
party, yeah.
No rules, tops off.
Pretty much, yeah.
Fucking gays everywhere.
Oh, it was very queer, the whole thing.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge fan. Honestly, everybody was dressed to the nines, too.
Oh,
I'm glad
everybody
that
looked amazing.
everybody showed up for it.
Me too. Yeah, people got the memo.
Yeah.
People definitely got the memo.
Because, I was telling Eden, I was like, I feel like the girlies are all going to dress sick, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always the, boyfriends of the girlies that come up in
Yes.
skinny jeans and a t-shirt,
Yes.
But I didn't see much of that, which is
No,
nice.
I feel like everybody really committed to the bit and had crazy sick outfits on. Did you see
sick.
those two? There was one person that had a very spiky leather coat and then the spiky leather face thing.
Mhm.
God,
I did
it was
see that.
I was like,
whoa.
you are my everything.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I wanted.
It was so fun.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
How was your Christmas?
It was really good. Didn't do too much. We went up to Eden's families, or down to Eden's families, I guess, technically.
True.
And that was fun. My mom got us a new bed frame, which is
that's
kind of
lovely.
a nice Christmas present.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. It's
Yeah.
floral.
Yeah, a little floral headboard, which
It's
was
gorgeous.
nice.
It's gorgeous.
So we don't have a mattress on the floor anymore.
That is really nice.
In our guest room, I guess. We moved that bed frame over to the guest room, but the one we were using.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was nice. How was your Christmas?
It was great. Saw you on Christmas Eve. That was really fun.
Shot some M80s out of a
I know.
slingshot. Someone literally walked by and recorded us.
I know. I was like, calm down. Don't post me on Nextdoor or whatever on your surveillance app.
I feel like how would they know that that you live here? Though?
That's
We were
true.
just out in the street.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you don't know what my address is.
No, definitely.
And
And neither do you, listener.
exactly.
And, that's probably
we're
for
gonna
the
keep
best.
it that
Yeah.
way. And then my Christmas day was great. We just hung out here and had drinks and delicious food. And then at the end of the night, we went over to my neighbors, and they had made a gigantic vat of pozole and fed everyone except me because I don't eat meat, obviously. But I smelled, and I thought, smells like it would be delicious.
Yeah.
And and then we just hung out with them and played games, and
Hell yeah.
it was great. It was really a
Sounds so
lovely
fun.
holiday.
Yeah, I love
Lovely
that.
holiday. I was a little sick over New Year's Eve, but
Yeah.
I still had a good time.
Yeah. Well, I told you at your party, but
Yes, tell the
I got-
listeners though, because this is cute.
There was a little twink at the gay bar on New Year's Eve while we were standing in the bathroom line, and he was kept feeling my hair, and we were just kind of chatting in a group. And I was like, "Hey," and he was like, "Your hair is so fluffy. You look like Sabrina Carpenter." And it's it was funny, and it was a very nice compliment. I'm not mad about it by any means, and I can see how maybe my hair does, but I was like, I don't really look like Sabrina Carpenter at all.
I love that though.
Yeah.
I do see, because you do kind of have her bangs a little bit, and
like the flippy.
and your hair is very voluminous and
thank
yeah.
you.
I do
Thank
think
you.
if you were blonde, it could be Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
Maybe you have her cheeks a little. She has really cute cheeks, I feel like.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
He looked like Drew Gooden, and if you don't know who that is, it's the Road Work Ahead. Well, I sure hope it does, guy.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all. It was fine.
Yeah, lovely.
You know what has been pissing me off lately?
Please tell me.
And I was ranting about this.
Please tell me.
For like half an hour, dude. So I went to the liquor store recently, and at the Utah State Liquor Store, they have been asking for donations for homeless services.
Right.
And I got to thinking about it because I was like, maybe I should donate to that or whatever. And I was like, why are they asking at the state liquor store for more money when I already pay state taxes?
Yep.
instead of just using the money they have to help homeless people. Oh my God, I was so mad when I was thinking about it. I was like, are you fucking joking?
Yeah.
Like, you have all the money.
Exactly.
Why are you asking for more donations at the liquor store for homeless services?
Fucking hell.
It's the same as like kids don't donate to when a store asks you to donate.
Don't do it.
They're just going to take the tax break for themselves with
Exactly.
your money. You'd be better off to just find an organization you like and donate your money directly to them.
Yes.
And then you get the tax break for it.
Exactly.
So
and also,
do that.
I feel like often the organizations that they're donating to are like not chill.
I'm sure, yeah.
Like they're like donating to, what's the one? Is it Autism Speaks? That's like really terrible.
Autism Speaks is sus. I've heard the Salvation Army also
They
is
are.
like a little sus.
They are.
So like, again, I mean, find a one that's good and just give them your money directly.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no need
and don't
to go
be guilted
through.
by them being like, do you want to donate to help hungry, starving pets?
Yeah.
And you're like, no. And they're like, wow.
Like, wow, you like
Wow.
hungry, starving pets.
So you're a monster.
So you're a monster. So you want to see puppies die, you know? You're like, I didn't say that.
I just don't want to help you. Oh. Okay, one last funny story
Yes,
before
please.
we introduce ourselves. Speaking of liquor, so I had bought a bunch of liquor for said party. And in this box, I had 2 big old bottles of gin, 2 big old bottles of vodka, 1 big old bottle of tequila, 1 big old bottle of whiskey.
Sick.
I'm bringing it in. I'm carrying it into the warehouse,
Rad.
holding this little box by the handles. Well, guess what?
Oh, no.
One of the handles snaps, and the box falls on the floor. And every single bottle of liquor breaks except 2. And I spent like $300 on
I'm
this.
so sorry.
I
That
know.
sucks.
I know. I was like, I had to like collect myself. I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
This is fine. This is
Okay. It's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right. And luckily Mel was there and she was like, you know what? I'll go to the liquor store right now and I will just replenish everything that was there. And I'm like, thank you, Mel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What a real one. Mel's always pulling through.
She is. But yeah, I was just like, I just honestly like laughed because I was like, God fucking damn it. God
dude.
damn it. But I realized, and I did not do this because we just like cleaned it up immediately and threw everything away. But jot this one down, you and listeners. If that happens to you, and you have the neck of the bottle with like the cap and it's sealed, you can go back to the store that you bought that shit from and they'll give it like you a fresh bottle for free.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's crazy. I didn't even realize
Yeah.
that. That's sick.
It is sick. So yeah,
Damn.
if that happens to you.
What a real one for that.
I know.
Liquor
I was
stores.
like, that's really awesome. I
Yeah.
wish that I had held on to those
known.
things, but whatever. What are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't know, you don't know. But
Yeah.
Well,
But
cool.
yeah, that was like the second I went in to set up for the party and just shatter. And of course it like smells like the worst cocktail of like every booze ever. And I was like, oh God.
Smells like rubbing alcohol in
yeah.
there.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Oh God. Well, I'm glad that it all worked out.
Oh, it worked out
because,
fabulously.
yeah.
It was a wonderful night.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I'm Phoebe.
I'm Tayler.
This is Remarks, the podcast where we talk about stuff.
And we talk about things and stuff. Mostly things. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes stuff.
Sometimes on occasion stuff.
Yeah.
And this is your number 2, your part 2
Yeah.
of the solo episode.
Yeah, so, buckle in,
Strap
get
in.
cozy. Taylor just gets to chill and drink a Ketos Brewing Blackberry Sour.
Yeah, those are
Shout out
so
to
good.
Ketos Brewing, local brewery in Salt Lake. If you want to sponsor us, do.
Yeah, please. Ketos is I was going to say they're local, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
And their stuff is quite good.
Oh, yeah, it's delicious.
These blackberry sours.
Yeah, big fan. They have one that's called like an American ale or something like that, and that one's really good too. I actually quite like that one as well.
I think they have like a coffee one too.
They do, yeah. Yeah, that one's good. Anyway, maybe I'm thinking of Roja.
Oh, yeah,
Actually, like the
Roja's good, too.
American, Yeah, but anyway.
Well, prepare to get sad.
Oh, I've been prepared.
Already
baby.
was.
Yeah, no, with what's going on in the world, there's never a moment where I'm
Wow.
not fearful for everyone's future.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Buckle in for next week too.
Oh yeah.
On the 20th.
Yeah.
Inauguration, baby.
Inauguration day.
Inauguration day.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. I'm so happy.
We got 4 years.
Woo!
Well, hey, at least TikTok's not going away, I heard.
Oh, good.
Did they say? I think I heard somewhere that it was saved.
I'm not sure.
I haven't been on today. It wasn't to... No, it's like the 18th or the 19th that is supposed to like go away. But I heard something about it like not actually. So, which I kind of felt like it wasn't.
I mean, that's crazy.
I feel like they've tried to ban TikTok like 30 times.
I do too.
And it never works.
No.
So,
I'm sorry. If you can't ban Kiwi Farms from the internet, why are we banning TikTok?
You couldn't even ban fucking 8chan when it was on and
Exactly.
that was like the like CP capital of the internet, you know?
Exactly.
Like, fucking
also,
Christ.
I'm like, what about and I think we've talked about it on the show before, but like all of the Facebook like election blah 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 shit, and it's like, okay, and you're banning TikTok?
Yeah, TikTok's the big bad here.
Because you're afraid
like,
of Chinese people?
Yeah, fuck off, dude.
Insane.
Yeah, no, they let like Facebook conspiracy theory groups go, but...
Yeah. One thing I gotta say, the next 4 years will certainly be entertaining.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be... we'll be drunk a lot, I feel.
Oh, I certainly will be. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, in 2020, the world was in turmoil. Yeah. The COVID-19 pandemic put most countries into some form of lockdown. Many people were sick, missing family or friends, and out of work. Mm-hmm. The American government's response to the pandemic, which was severely lacking, had put a glaring light on major issues in the country with civil rights, working class support, and had made it clear that the ruling class was never going to protect anyone below them. On the very same day in 2020, which I just realized I didn't write down what day it was. I think it was May 25th. Mm-hmm. I should have written that down, but apparently blanked on that.
We'll run with it.
We'll run with that. On the very same day in 2020, two awful incidents quickly went viral and made it impossible to ignore the systemic racism and police brutality in America. Christian Cooper, a black man who was peacefully birdwatching in Central Park, was approached by a white woman, Amy Cooper, no relation, same last name, weirdly enough, who had her dog off leash. Christian reminded her of the on-leash rule of the park, and things escalated from there. Christian tried to call the dog to him. I think he was kind of trying to prove a point about the off-leash thing, and that made Amy extremely upset and led her to call the police. Do you remember this?
I do.
Yep.
I do. Now that you say it, it's flooding back to me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Quote, "There is an African-American man. I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. Please send the cops immediately." Amy had said this on the phone to the police in a video that Christian had recorded. Mm-hmm. This event was a clear indication of the racism in America and the extremely typical response that racist white people, especially white women, have to black people simply just existing, which is to immediately call the police and claim that they are being threatened, a la Emmett Till, throwing it back to, 1955, I believe.
Yeah.
This, coupled with the next, much more violent event, sprung the world into action. George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, had been shopping at Cup Foods in Minneapolis when the clerk accused him of using a counterfeit $20 bill. The police were called, and the police response erupted into violence immediately. An absolute trigger warning for the details of this event. I'm aware we all know this story, but it is important to press the details and to set the tone of the time and the response from the country and the world. And, I think it's just important to keep talking about this. George Floyd was ripped out of his vehicle by police and handcuffed, then thrown to the ground. 4 officers were on the scene, with 3 restraining George and pinning him to the ground, while the 4th tried to block the view of people recording and witnessing the violence. Derek Chauvin, a white Minneapolis officer, knelt down and pressed his knee into George's neck for a full 9 minutes and 29 seconds. George repeatedly called out that he could not breathe, but Chauvin would not let up. At the end, George had been dead for 2 minutes before Chauvin finally removed his knee. Fucking just...
Absolutely fucking awful.
Horrific.
Horrific is the right word for it.
Several people had taken videos and posted them to the internet, and these videos caught fire and spread to the entire world. An outcry erupted. Minneapolis burst into protest a day later, and many other cities followed suit. In America, we had been seeing decades of police violence, especially towards black people, as I said, stretching back to 1955 with Emmett Till, and I'm certain that it was before then. I think that was kind of just like the first recorded incident. Cell phones and live streaming only made this abundantly more clear, and these two clearly racist, violent events on the exact same day, during a time when many Americans were already pondering their leaders' intentions, was the perfect cocktail to cause the massive response that we had been needing for years. Someday I would love to cover all the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests around America, and even the world for that matter.
Yeah.
I think it would be really fascinating. Honestly, episode idea. It would be fascinating to just go through a lot of them and talk about like what went down.
Yeah, and even like a series, like going through
Sure.
all of the different. That would be interesting because people. I mean, I remember that because it was really, like you said, like the perfect cocktail of like,
Yes,
people are out of work, people are already like antsy and pissed off at our leaders, and just like had a good reason to fucking get out there and be like, fuck this, I hate this.
I mean, I think like people being out of work obviously made it easier to attend these protests. And yeah, like it was becoming so obvious and extremely difficult to ignore the fact that like our government will never take care of us, does not care for us as people, and is in fact like putting things in place to ensure that we stay on the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
I
so,
think so,
you know, this just made everything completely explode. Right. Yeah. So as I was saying, it would be cool to eventually kind of cover all of them. But for today, I want to focus on one particularly impressive demonstration. But unfortunately, before then, I do want to continue setting the scene and describing how certain events led to the creation of the Capitol Hill Organized Protest, or the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, also called CHOP or CHAZ.
Yeah.
Remember this?
I do.
This was pretty cool, pretty crazy.
Pretty rad thing that happened.
Yeah. So bear with me here as I kind of go through some more upsetting things that happened in 2020 and that propelled us towards this gigantic explosion of resistance and protest and conversation about our country. And I understand these stories are highly upsetting, and I mean, trigger warning for every episode we've ever done, probably, but you know, again,
we don't have a good track record of talking about cheerful things on the podcast.
It's quite rare.
It is quite rare, but like on occasion we'll have like a silly, goofy episode where I'm like, look at Cybertrucks, they're fucking dumb.
Yeah.
But like, but yeah, I mean, typically it's like kind of the worst stuff that humans have ever done. So
you likely sort of know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
So Breonna Taylor had actually been murdered before George Floyd, but his killing had certainly brought hers more into the spotlight. Just after midnight on March 13th, 2020, in Louisville, Kentucky, police conducted a no-knock search of Breonna and her boyfriend Kenneth Walker's apartment. A no-knock search is when police just force entry into your home with no warning or announcement.
Which is cool.
Yeah, it seemed fucked up.
Yeah,
it is.
Super rad. And yeah, like, should not be possible, even like with our current like constitution and stuff, but they just do it.
Yeah.
Because who's gonna fucking stop them? Who's gonna get them in trouble?
Like, who am I gonna call? The police?
Yeah, who am I gonna call? And what, they have all the guns. Like,
exactly. They have fucking tanks.
Yeah, they have literally,
like,
that would honestly be a good episode too, is the military police force and how bad it's gotten.
Yeah.
Police used to have fucking batons, and now
right.
they literally have tanks. Like,
yeah, and like AKs. Yeah, and certainly I think we really saw that during 2020 was like the you know, these cities basically became like cop cities, and there was like police driving around in these like fucking Humvees and shit.
It became, it was like, I don't want to say it was like war zone vibes, because that seems more intense, but like, it was very like,
it was definitely a what did they call it? Like kind of martial law feel.
And I think everybody just saw like the lengths that the government and the police were willing to go to like quiet people down.
Exactly. And to stop the resist. I mean, it was like all hands on deck with the most intense response we could possibly have, because oh shit, people are gaining, you know, class awareness, racial awareness, all of these things. So police in plain clothes used a battering ram to force open Brianna's door. Kenneth and Brianna were terrified, unaware that this was law enforcement, and believed that violent intruders were trying to break into their apartment. And in my opinion, that is what was happening. I mean, these were violent intruders breaking into their apartment. They just happened to legally be able to do it because they have a stupid badge on.
Yeah, because they dropped out of high school and went to 2 years of a police academy.
Not even 2 years.
How long do you have to go to police academy?
It is, yes, and it is less hours than it takes to become a hairstylist. Or at least than it took me to become a hairstylist, because I had to get 2,000 hours, and I think police don't need that long.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
It's awesome.
Anyway.
It's a well-oiled machine. Kenneth called his mother to alert her to the suspected intruders, armed himself, and then called police, ironically enough. As the officers broke the door down and forcibly entered the apartment, Kenneth took a shot at the ground, hoping to scare off these intruders. Officers opened fire, spraying bullets all over the apartment. They fired 32 shots, 6 of which hit Breonna Taylor and killed her. Police tried to claim that Kenneth had shot one of their officers, Jonathan Mattingly, in the leg, and attempted to use this to justify the overkill that they had followed with. However, upon investigation, it was proven that Mattingly had actually been hit in the leg by another police officer.
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course. Because they have less fucking hours than a hairstylist of training.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, this story, this one I feel like was really frustrating.
Yeah.
Never mind, just continue.
I mean, it was, ugh.
I remember this one just like really getting me really
It
mad.
hit hard.
Yeah.
Brianna's murder shone a light on the often ignored female victims of police brutality and the second-class citizen status of Black women in America. Following Brianna's murder, the chant and hashtag Say Her Name began to spread. Following the death of George Floyd, many thought that police might be extra cautious with the world's eyes on them. But police, being police, the violence only ramped up, and the murder of civilians by officers continued, as well as the extremely violent responses by officers during protests for violence by officers. Go fucking figure.
Yeah, and like the amount of like fucking, like I remember I saw people on like Twitter who were like protesting. They're like, oh yeah, I got hit with a rubber bullet and I fucking lost an eye.
Yes.
Like it was, yeah, like it's crazy shit.
Yes. I can attest to personally witnessing police violence during protests in Salt Lake City, particularly on July 9th, 2020, when officers involved in the killing of Bernardo Palacios Carbajal were ruled justified by District Attorney Sim Gill, who is a worthless piece of shit. Fuck you, Sim Gill. We hate you. Bernardo had been killed on May 23rd, 2020, after officers fired at him 34 times, hitting him 13 to 15 times and killing him. At a protest, the evening of the ruling, protesters allegedly spilled water-soluble red paint on the steps of the DA's office and on the road outside the office. Windows to the office were also allegedly broken. When police in full riot gear with batons, beanbag guns, and rubber bullet guns showed up, protesters linked arms in an attempt to protect themselves. Officers charged the unarmed protesters, battering them with batons and shooting the projectiles. Multiple protesters suffered broken fingers, open wounds, and one was even rushed to the hospital after being shot point blank in the leg with a rubber bullet that left a large hole in their leg. This protester had to crawl away from the scene and was taken in a car by an onlooker to the hospital. Throughout America, it was reported that at least 8 people, as you were kind of just saying, Taylor, were blinded after being hit with police projectiles. And many protesters were violently tear gassed, sprayed with fire hoses, and there were several incidences of police harming protesters with their cars, even. An NYPD officer opened the passenger door of a vehicle in order to strike a protester. In May, 2 NYPD officers drove their police cars into protesters. An LAPD cruiser hit 2 protesters. In Virginia, another officer hit protesters with his car. An off-duty officer drove her car through a crowd of protesters in Seattle. In Anaheim, an officer hit a protester and then fled the scene. The list goes on. So, yeah, the police response to these protests was obviously just, let's keep doing what police do, which is being extremely violent for no reason.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. My mic is out.
Oh, shit. Well, guess what? Let's take a break and figure that out.
Beautiful.
Break. Taylor's gone.
We are back, and my microphone is back in business,
thank
baby.
God.
Yeah, we're
God.
so back. Actually,
Can you hear the soothing sounds of Taylor's voice now?
my soothing voice.
Your soothing
trying to
voice.
think of like what's a velvety voice. You're listening to KRCL,
Right? Do you love KRCL?
KRCL's good.
Shout out KRCL.
Yeah, good local radio.
Mm-hmm. They play like cool like indie stuff.
It is cool. I feel like unfortunately it's a kind of a niche these days. Like radio is just not very popular anymore. So.
It's true.
But it is cool because they'll have like local bands and
Yeah.
stuff. Or like, weirdly enough, I'm part of a chess club, and they had like the guy who organizes the chess club on to like
Really?
talk about the chess club.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's cute. I
Yeah.
love that.
It was fun.
Where do you guys like meet at different places?
No, it's on Sundays at Loki Coffee
Oh, that's
in Salt Lake City.
man, I love that.
Yeah, it's a fun little time.
It's very wholesome.
If you want to catch me in the wild,
Yeah.
I'm usually at Loki Coffee on Sundays.
Come
So.
play chess.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun little time.
On Thanksgiving, chess was like quite the hit. I loved that. Taylor brought chess to our little Thanksgiving gathering, and
Yeah,
everybody was in.
like, into it.
it
Yeah,
was so cute.
Well, there's like two people there that were like, "I play chess all the time," and I was like, "Let's play then." Yeah,
You're like, join the club.
Yeah,
Come
so-
to chess club.
it's a fun little romp. You know?
Yeah.
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 But anyway,
Anyway, back to bad things.
yay.
All right. So as I was saying, police officers, they're hitting protesters with their cars, just straight up doing vehicular, not always manslaughter, but vehicular
Assault.
assault. Sure.
Yeah, something like that.
Which is illegal unless you are a police officer.
Yeah, no, it's chill if you're a police officer for sure.
Basically, anything's legal if you're a police officer. I
And
think
the thing
that's
was, is
what
then
I've
like
learned.
other people started doing it, and I'm sure it was because they were
Oh.
like, the police are literally running them over, so why
Well,
can't I?
Exactly. And I will say that in Utah, a law was passed that said that if you, I mean, it was in more, law
Language.
legalese language, but it's basically was like, yeah, it's legal for you to drive your car into a protest.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, they basically said
you
it's
can kill people.
yeah, it's chill to commit vehicular manslaughter if you're feeling inconvenienced because a protest is
Because
happening.
a protest is happening.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
bro,
it's illegal to kill someone if they're jaywalking, or it's like
Yeah.
somebody runs and jumps in front of your car, which would be horrible, but like, you can still get in trouble for that,
Yeah.
even though it's completely not
That's
your fault.
literally what vehicular manslaughter is like you don't necessarily mean to kill
Right,
someone. Like,
right.
It's
Yeah.
that's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. And the state of
again,
Utah said it's fine.
goes to
it's
show
all
that
right.
they don't give a fuck about you.
Absolutely
they
not.
do not care about you.
No.
And
No.
they never will.
They
So,
never will. They will let people kill you with their car.
Literally.
Yeah, it's
Anyway.
awesome. So, with the country erupting into chaos and police officers continuing to respond with violence, unfair recourse, and continuing murder, the response from civilians was justified outrage, but there was also organizing, planning, and mutual aid. Many cities created mutual aid networks at the start of the pandemic to distribute food, PPE, money, or housing to people affected by COVID, and these networks were only further bolstered by the protests. Activists worked to create a world outside of police presence, a world that could rely on each other for support rather than the government that was actively ignoring people in need. One impressive example of this was the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest, or the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. This was established on June 8th, 2020 in Seattle, Washington. Protests in response to George Floyd's death in Seattle began on May 30th that were peaceful for most of the day. However, towards the evening, the remaining crowd allegedly became more chaotic and was throwing things and allegedly looting stores. Allegedly.
Super allegedly.
Very allegedly.
And that's another thing is I fucking hate how it's always like the looters though.
I know.
They're robbing the Target And it's like, okay, fuck off. People are dying.
Exactly.
And you care more about the target.
Exactly.
Care more about the fucking throw pillows than you do about
right.
people's lives.
Also, a lot of the time, looting that happens is like water because people are needing water, or milk because people are getting tear gassed. And so they just run into a store, grab what they can to help people and get out.
Yeah, like they really, I feel like it's always overblown how much looting actually
Of course
happens.
it is.
And they never talk about that.
And also, like you said, I'm just like, I don't really give a fuck. Like, I don't really give a fuck if your precious, like, Starbucks got looted. It's not.
Sorry.
I'm not. I don't care.
Like, oh, the Starbucks got a brick through the window. They'll have to use
right
$1,000 of their couple billion they have to fix it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not saying go throw a brick through a Starbucks. However,
I'm just saying
it would be fun in Minecraft.
I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, I'm not upset when it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also just saying we're having a protest about people getting murdered by
killed
police, like state-sanctioned murders.
Yeah, state-sanctioned murders. And then I was gonna say too, wasn't like the whole thing with Breonna Taylor that like the police were in the wrong apartment? Like they weren't even trying to search.
Yeah,
her apartment.
So what had happened was allegedly, like, I think they thought her boyfriend was receiving packages that possibly had like drugs of some sort in them. Like it was like, you know, they were. He was distributing drugs and receiving them through the mail, whatever. But the Postal Service had said before the raid even happened that the packages that were being delivered were not suspicious. But they did it anyway.
Yeah. And that's why the post office fucking rules.
We love the post office.
People should listen to them more.
Agreed.
The best government agency we have. If it was just the post office that existed, I'd be okay with that.
I'd be fine. Yeah.
I've never seen a postal service worker that I didn't want to salute. So
same. My shout out to my postal service worker, Steve. He's a lovely man who always gives Siobhan pets.
Oh, cute.
And if you're listening, Steve, we love you, man.
Hell yeah.
So, allegedly looting stores. Who cares? Police responded with tear gas, pepper spray, and flashbangs, which I think most people listening understand the levity of this, but tear gas is an extremely toxic chemical. You can get extremely sick. It burns your face. It burns your eyes. Also, it's a smoking canister that's extremely hot, and it can burn people. Pepper spray, I mean, similar thing. It's extremely painful and irritating. Flashbangs are, again, they can burn you. They can explode on you.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
Y'all have played Call of Duty. That shit fucking,
you know
when your screen goes white, that's like you, but your brain
yes.
just goes completely white and you can't see anything.
Yes. And it's not to compare it to a firework, but that's the only thing I can. Like, imagine a firework getting thrown at you. Like, you can get hurt.
Literally.
Badly.
Yeah, like in your face.
Very badly, you can get hurt. On June 1st, over 7,000 protesters were gathered in the Capitol Hill neighborhood near the Seattle Police Department's East Precinct building. A barricade. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. My computer's trying to open up emojis right now for some reason. I don't want to see emojis. It
really wants you to post like an eggplant.
It's like, you need a smiley face right now. This is upsetting. 7,000 protesters were gathered in the Capitol Hill neighborhood near the Seattle Police Department's East Precinct building. A barricade was erected on 11th Avenue and Pine Street, and this was the first piece of Chaz and would become the central gathering place for all future demonstrations. Police in full riot gear confronted the crowd, and many people were injured on both sides. Although, how badly can you be injured when you're in full riot gear?
Yeah. That is a good point. I never actually thought about that,
which was also an argument for the July 9th protests in Salt Lake City, and they were like, protesters allegedly threw a water bottle. And I'm like, a plastic Dasani water bottle? You're wearing a helmet and you have a shield
on. Yeah.
And you're shooting people in the leg with rubber bullets and breaking people's fingers because you're ripping their phones out of their hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's crazy the way it was framed.
Oh.
Everywhere. And just the way that it was like, these protesters are... Like, I remember
they're rioting.
They're rioters, and they're carving PVC pipes and making spears out of them and stuff. And I was like, bro,
what?
That's crazy. Like, even if that did happen, it's like, that's one protest that happened.
Yeah.
Like,
99% of the protests was like younger people who were unarmed, and the most that they had was like a water bottle and like a backpack with band-aids in
Literally.
it and like a granola bar.
Yeah, it's like I went to plenty of protests, and it's like most I saw, was like people trying to give me water and band-aids.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And like granola bars.
There was one story that a friend of mine posted that there was a march. I think it was down from the Capitol down to maybe like our city county building.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a butterfly in the middle of the street that like either was tired or something, whatever. The butterfly was like sitting in the middle of the street. And one of the protesters went and picks it up on their finger and like runs it over into a bush and sets it on the bush and then like runs back and joins the protest. And it's like, this is who these people are.
This is what, this
like,
is what's going on.
They see a butterfly in the road and they're like, oh no, let me make sure this butterfly doesn't get stepped on.
Yeah. Truly.
Wholesome people.
Very.
Ugh. On June 2nd, Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan addressed the crowd of protesters, claiming that the violent actions of police officers would be, quote, reviewed, but that protesters must remain lawful. Sorry.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off with that shit, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We'll review.
You. No,
we'll
you're
review
fine.
it.
We'll review it.
Yeah.
We'll review
no,
it.
we know shit's bad. Okay, you can't fucking say that.
We're gonna look into it. We're
gonna do an internal investigation. Right. We're gonna see if I'm gonna decide if we're doing anything wrong, and I can already tell you that we aren't. So you're crazy.
So if you guys could just chill.
It's like nationwide gaslighting, dude. They're like, you're crazy. This is fine, actually.
Completely.
Dude, fuck off. Okay,
I know. This bitch. Later that same evening, police once again attacked the crowd with tear gas and flashbangs. Shocker. Over the next several days, multiple complaints were filed against the Seattle Police Department's excessive use of force and Mayor Durkan's leadership. On June 6th, the violence from officers continued, leading to several politicians, including 4 Seattle City Council members, to join the protests. So you know it's bad. Mm-hmm. When the politicians get involved.
When they're actually also involved, that's crazy. Yeah.
It's bad news. On June 7th, a man drove his vehicle toward the crowd of protesters at the barricade on Pine Street, and when a protester attempted to stop the man in the car, worried that he would injure or kill someone, the man in the car shot the protester.
Lovely.
This caused the crowd of protesters and police to erupt into a long evening of violence and chaos. On June 8th, police removed all barricades surrounding the East Precinct building, boarded up the windows, and removed any officers and staff working in the building. This abandonment of the police building settled the chaos and allowed protesters to essentially take over the area to establish a cop-free, group-led autonomous zone. And this is a quote from historylink.com that describes the area. It's slightly long, but it's a good one. Quote, Chaz was initially centered around the East Precinct building and encompassed 6 city blocks, including Cal Anderson Park, that extended east to 12th Avenue, west to Broadway, south to East Pine Street, and north to East Denny Way. Our Seattle listeners will know what that means. Protesters used the police barricades that had been left behind to set up a perimeter. Afterwards, a large sign was posted that read, "This space is now property of the Seattle people." This was soon joined by other signs, murals, memorials, and different types of art, including a shrine for George Floyd where people left flowers, candles, and handwritten messages. Any important decisions were made using group consensus in which all people were encouraged to speak. Mm-hmm. Volunteers staffed a variety of booths that offered everything from food, supplies, and first aid. Special tents were set up that provided free medical care, including free COVID-19 testing, and portable toilets were provided by the Seattle Department of Transportation. Pretty fucking awesome.
That's sick, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Department of Transportation, you can stay too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can stay too, unless I look into you for like a later episode and you turn out to be shitty.
Right, and then I hate you. But
yeah.
For now, you're
cool. You're all right. Yeah.
You're cool. End quote. There was a community garden, an outdoor cinema with a projector and sound system where they would stream like documentaries, typically about, systemic racism, America. I think her name is Ava DuVernay. The film 13th, they streamed that. Mm-hmm. There was a public speaking square where voices of marginalized groups could be heard asking for justice and stating their demands. And here's another quote. Quote, "A group known as the Collective Black Voices asserted a list of demands that were then transcribed and disseminated online. Their primary demands called for for cutting Seattle's police budget by 50%, redistributing those funds to community programs and services in historically Black communities, and ensuring that protesters would not be held criminally liable or charged with any crimes.
Yeah.
King County Equity Now Coalition was calling for redistributing $180 million from SPD's budget and investing at least $50 million from the budget into the Black community. It is equally important, as these countrywide protests have illuminated, to shift resources into Black-led community organizations to ensure that COVID-19 does not exacerbate the only widening racial resource/wealth gap, the organization said on its website. End quote.
Yeah.
Several protesters commented on the first days of Chop/Chaz, and these quotes are found from seattlemet.com. And I liked this because it came directly from the mouths of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Jamil Solman said, "The next 48 hours after the cops left was probably the most dynamic activist and organizing experience I've had in a very long time." Future Crystals said, "People set up tents. There were people painting and whatnot. There were people manning the corners, making sure everyone was safe. People just came in with large amounts of pizza. And then there was a stage area where people started talking. Different elders were speaking, Black femmes. It was really good energy." Jamil Solomon says again, "I used to work at the Seattle Central College, and I've visited Cal Anderson Park for my whole life. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have never seen that park cleaner." Future Crystals says, "There was the No Cop Co-op. There was the Future Crystals tent. There were multiple medical tents in different parts of the area. There was the rejuvenation station. There was a place called Riot Kitchen." Tammy Morales says, "People were protesting to save their lives. It was also a place of respite. People were in deep conversations on sofas in the street." Reagan Jackson said, "There was a man named Marcus Henderson from Black Star Farmers who set up a garden for Black folks to plant things. There were mutual aid stations so that folks could get free food, free medical care." Omari Salisbury says, "You're in this arts district with all these artists, so you had this explosion of public art everywhere." And this kind of reminds me of Christiania, which I had talked about a while back, where it's just like completely community-led, free food, free medical care, gardens, artists sharing their work, people speaking about, oppression or speaking to rally the group and bring joy and bring energy to the protesters.
It's crazy how every time this happens, it works so much better than what we currently have set up.
Yeah.
Like, the park is cleaner. People are happier. People are having time to do things that they want. Things are still getting done.
We have food.
That's free that like is being provided. Like, it's crazy how there's been so many examples of this working and it never.
Yes.
But on the other side of the coin, I need to realize that if they reallocated all that police money, then the police wouldn't be able to buy another tank.
Right. And that would be tough on the police.
That would be really hard for them.
They would have a bad time.
Yeah, they wouldn't get to drive their tank and shoot a bunch of unarmed people. And yeah, I mean, that's why I assume most people become police officers. So
right.
Anyway, no, that's really cool.
Well, and it's just like funny how, I think you and I have discussed this a million times, how like whenever there's like, something really crazy is going on and like the city's being destroyed, people are like, it's anarchy. And I'm like, no, it's not.
It's not. And there's even like fucking evidence to show that like when natural disasters strike and stuff, like people want to band together.
Yes, which is what people start doing anarchy. It's just funny. Like, of course, that word has become so twisted around, but like anarchy is like people chilling and like having a garden and like distributing food and
literally
giving people like, free COVID tests and shit. It's like chill.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's become like a thing of like there's like it's like a synonym for like chaos almost.
Exactly, and like danger and things are exploding.
Like Mad Max ass shit.
Right. Exactly.
No, that sounds fucking lit, dude.
Yeah.
I remember I had a conversation with someone. I don't remember who at this point, but they were like, "Did you hear there was a murder in the autonomous zone?" or something like that. Like trying to be like, oh, I bet they wish they had police now. Or
Right,
whatever.
exactly.
And I was like, well, yeah, that's great because police always stop every murder
Right.
that happens
It's
not
like,
in an autonomous
did you hear
zone.
there was a murder everywhere else?
Every
also?
other place, like
Yeah.
you can't eliminate murder. It just happens.
It's going to
like,
happen.
But like, look at all of the other great things that this place has done.
People are eating food for free.
Yeah, people are being fed. People are making art and clean. And again, like things are still getting done. It's not like nobody's doing anything.
Right.
Like,
everybody just came together and immediately created this like miniature
and like
city.
wanted to pitch in.
Yes.
Because
that's
people
human nature.
want to be in a community and help other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another thing, I didn't write this down, but they had said that any person that was like homeless who came to the area immediately got a tent to live in.
Yeah.
There was other people who were like staying overnight as well that were living in tents, but like if you came in and you were like, I am homeless, they were like, cool, here's a tent, you live here now.
This is chill. Yeah.
Neighbors living in the Capitol Hill neighborhood said that the occupation was actually relief and welcome after nights of loud and violent police activity, according to the Seattle Times. And I have a quote from the Seattle Times. Quote, "It has been a constant of sirens and helicopter noises," said Sophia Lee, who lives about a block from the East Precinct, adding that it was a relief that violence had subsided and she could walk home without fear of retaliation from the police for protesting. End quote.
Yeah.
Joe Hendrickson, who is 72, lives half a block from Cal Anderson Park and was in support of the protesters and said that they had been peaceful and nonviolent. He said he would have joined them, but he was a little concerned about getting the coronavirus. And I just thought it was cool that this guy who's 72 was like giving his stamp of approval.
Yeah. You know what? And fair, brother. Don't get that COVID.
Yeah, no, stay
inside,
home.
yeah.
But I just love that
Comrade
Joe.
Joe, yeah.
Around June 15th, an agreement between CHOP occupiers and the Seattle Department of Transportation was reached where the DOT could place concrete barriers that made it easier for traffic to move around the zone. And this allowed businesses in and near the zone to receive their deliveries as well as for emergency vehicles to access the area easier. And I just have more quotes from people talking about their feelings about CHOP/Chaz. Mary Enslow, who was an artist within CHOP, said, quote, "I'm a mother and just thinking about all the pain these children go through, being worried about their parents, and then on the flip side of that, parents being worried about their children because of the color of their skin. It's just horrifying to think about. It's so peaceful now. People are showing them that all we wanted to do was be peaceful and be treated properly by the police system that we pay for." Which I was like,
literally
great addition at the end there.
Yes, that we pay for, mind you.
Yes.
We are funding these people
Without
against my choice.
Exactly.
I say this like every fucking episode, but like I don't get to choose where my fucking taxes go.
No.
And people are always like, "Oh, well, you get to vote for the yada yada." It's like that doesn't fucking matter. They all fund the police. Like,
exactly.
Fuck off.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. A quote from The Guardian shares a voice of another CHOP resident. Quote, "I think what we're seeing in Chaz is just a snippet of a reality that people can have," said Dae Shik Kim Jr., 28 years old, one of the many organizers of the site. "I think what it's doing is exposing the unnecessary need of an over-policed state." Which, well said.
It's true. And it's like a cycle almost, because it's like the police like become the police state and like are monitoring everything, which then like I don't know, it fuels the violence against the police and the violence and everything, and I don't know, it's again, I feel like most people and like human nature isn't to like want to live in turmoil like that.
Exactly, but it's like the pressure put on by the police who like are violent and are, causing unnecessary unrest and are arresting people for no reason. It causes violence in return because what else are we supposed to do? And it makes, chaos begets chaos, I think.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it's like you combine that with like intense poverty.
Yes.
And then just the pure fact that like if you have like a record, like your prospects for employment and housing even are like kind of go out the door.
Absolutely.
You have so many more limited options, which then kind of fuels more illicit activity.
Totally.
And it's just this like ever burning fire of like the police oppressing people. And
right.
It's, I don't know.
Yeah. Unshockingly, Donald Trump, who was president at the time and going to become president
is
again.
Now, baby.
Yay.
Wow.
Tweeted in response to CHOP, calling protesters domestic terrorists who have, quote, taken over Seattle, run by radical left Democrats, of course. Law and order. Always eloquent, that man.
It's always law and order. And also, I would argue that there's no Democrats that are radical left. So
no. It'd be sick.
It'd be really cool.
But,
the closest Democrat to being radical left was Bernard Sanders.
Yeah.
And that man's like 90 years old.
Yeah, he deserves to just like sit down.
Yeah, he gets to enjoy his him and his wife, like their retirement, you know?
Yeah. Trump directed a tweet at Mayor Jenny Durkan saying, quote, take your city back now. If you don't do it, I will. This is not a game. Adding, these ugly anarchists must be stopped immediately. Move fast.
What a fucking petty ass, like, these ugly anarchists.
Ugly.
Yeah, like, that's something that, like, I would say, I feel like when I'm being petty towards, like,
yes.
And she's fucking ugly.
And you're ugly.
And you're fucking ugly.
Also.
Yeah. Like, what a... You're right. Donald Trump is entertaining, if nothing else.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's this thing going around that was, like, phrases that people have been saying that you don't even realize until you think about it that it came from Donald Trump, like the thing where he says like many such cases, and people are like it's like kind of meme-ified now, many such cases. Or there was another one that was like people are saying, or many are saying, I think, and I'm like saying. Oh my god, that is a Trumpism.
It's crazy. Yeah, he is like the meme president too.
Oh
like,
my god, yeah.
I guess I didn't even think about that, but yeah, he is like the meme president. Like he, like, memes were around obviously, like when like Obama was president, and obviously Biden and whatnot. But like Donald Trump like feeds into it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he loves it.
Yeah,
he loves it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, yeah.
Trump also threatened to have troops invade Seattle to shut down CHOP. Mayor Durkan responded to Trump by stating that him calling the protesters domestic terrorists was simply not true, and that, quote, the threat to invade Seattle to divide and incite violence in our city is not only unwelcome, it would be illegal. Which I'm like, I don't know if it would be illegal, I guess.
The call to remove the protesters?
To, like, have troops come and invade Seattle to shut this down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's...
She would probably know better than I.
Yeah, but I don't know much about... I ain't no lawyer. I don't know.
But it is interesting because the exact same thing had happened in Portland. They had, like, essentially invaded Portland.
Yeah.
And it was like...
They were, like, black bagging people in Portland.
Yes.
Like, throwing them in vans and shit. Like,
God,
it was
I remember
crazy.
that. Yeah, you just brought that memory back to me.
Yeah. Because I remember Robert Evans and Garrison, the other... I guess employee of Cool Zone, who is on like It Could Happen Here and whatnot.
Yes.
Yeah, they would talk often about how crazy it was in Portland.
Yeah. See, and this is why I would love for us to like cover those protests eventually, because I mean
the response, and because it was Minneapolis, right, where it like
Minneapolis,
and that shit got insane over there.
It was extremely violent and awful in Minneapolis.
And I actually heard that Utah was pretty crazy too, like
surprisingly,
it was. For how I guess like small scale we are of a city,
white, and typically not very politically involved unless it's about like passing a law that's making Mormons happy.
But I heard Salt Lake was pretty wild comparatively to some of the other places.
There was that cop car that got flipped and lit on fire.
Yeah, that was sick.
That was pretty fucking awesome.
That was pretty fucking cool. I remember my dad like texted me that night and was like, don't go outside.
Right.
It's like, it's crazy out there. And I was like, it's fine, Dad. Like,
it's truly fine.
No one's gonna be mad at me for going outside. Like,
I'll be all right.
I'll be fine. But yeah, it was wild.
It was wild. Let's take a break and think about how wild things were.
Think of wild things that you've gone through, listener.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ruminate on wildness. Ruminate on 2020.
Ruminate on 2020. I mean, TikTok was huge. I remember all the
Oh my
2020 TikTok.
Yeah.
Like the say so dance.
Mm-hmm.
Doja Cat.
That's definitely when I got on TikTok and was on it late at night in my bed when I could not sleep because everything was crazy.
And like there was just nothing else to do.
Exactly.
You were at home all day. You're like, I might as well just scroll through
I'll
TikTok
be on TikTok.
4 hours.
I know.
And like,
Yeah.
It was wild.
Oh.
But anyway.
TikTok.
We're back.
Hey.
So funny story. My great grandmother, good old Grandma Christopher is what we called her. Mm-hmm. And she was born with 4 functional kidneys.
Oh my God.
Which is crazy, right? Did not donate a single one of them.
Bitch.
Literally. Was like, actually, I want all of these.
I want all of them.
Actually, I need all of them. Yeah. And you know what? I hope she put those kidneys to good use.
Yeah.
I hope she drank her weight in like gin or something.
Yeah, I hope she was peeing it up.
Hope she was pissing it up,
she was
dude.
pissing, brother. That's wild.
It is crazy. Yeah, she just had 4 functional kidneys.
Yeah, and it didn't like cause any issues.
No, she had them her whole life.
The human body is miraculous.
It is crazy how things just work out with human bodies.
Yeah.
Or like how you can like go through like the craziest experience, like lose like half the blood in your body and then like somehow recover.
Yeah, you're like just chilling.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. I knew this woman when I was going to hair school. We had these old ladies that would come in and get their little like shampoo sets. Mm-hmm. And they were all wonderful and hilarious and a great time. And there was this woman whose name I can't remember, and I probably shouldn't say it on the show anyway, but she had like a divot in her temple on her head. And I don't even know if I was asking her or if she was just kind of telling me about her life. And she's like, yeah, my ex-husband shot me in the fucking head.
Jesus
And she
Christ.
lived.
Wow.
Obviously.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, that's fucking
I was
crazy.
Like, what?
You got shot in the face.
How is that possible?
You survived. Like,
how is that possible?
It's crazy shit.
Yeah, blew my mind.
I wonder, because like, and I know like there's going to be some gun buffs, and I'm sure there are people out there that are like, well, the type of bullet, this and that, it doesn't puncture the same, and this and that, and it's like, yeah, but you still got shot with
it's a bullet, brother.
Gun, dude.
Yeah, like I don't ever want that experience.
No, I would, preferably not to get shot in the head, but yeah, that's crazy.
Anyway,
well, good for her. I'm glad that she made it out.
And she was having a great time. Yeah. She was super fun and always hilarious. And
buying some nice shampoo from the Paul Mitchell.
Yeah, that is where I went. Yep.
I think I remembered you saying that.
Yeah. Good for fucking her.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Anyway, Donald Trump was texting. He's tweeting at the mayor of Seattle. He's like, these ugly anarchists. She's like, you're not going to bring your troops in here. You're crazy. Whatever.
Which is a wild back and forth to be like, at one time be like, we're going to review the police situation and then be like, we don't want the National Guard. Like,
I don't know,
that's
man.
cool that you don't want to bring in troops, but like, I don't know. Maybe like actually do something about it. I don't know.
I know. So as media attention on the area increased and sensationalized stories continued, the stabilization of the zone began to crumble. And as with any movement, there were bad faith actors. Mm-hmm. Concerns began to arise about the area when stories were spread about trash building up and local businesses feeling harassed. Though these stories were never verified, Police Chief Carmen Best was feeling the need to get police back into the area and retake their East Precinct building. Thought I was going to hiccup. I didn't. On June 15th, an auto repair shop located within CHOP was broken into and set on fire, and the suspect got away with stolen cash before being detained by a security team that had been set up by CHOP. The story hit the news and spread quickly, further tarnishing the reputation of CHOP and emboldening the Seattle police to reclaim this area. On June 18th, unfortunately, a sexual assault was reported that took place in a tent on the Cal Anderson Park area of CHOP, which of course continued concerns about the zone's safety. On June 20th, the true beginning of the end of CHOP occurred when 2 people were shot within the zone. A 19-year-old was killed after multiple gunshots, and a 33-year-old was taken to the hospital due to a gunshot wound. Whether these incidents were connected to the protests or not, police and Mayor Durkin agreed that it was time to shut CHOP down. The next day, on June 21st, another gunshot victim, 17 years old, was treated for a gunshot wound to the arm. On June 22nd, Mayor Durkin held a press conference where she asked people officially to begin leaving CHOP. She asked that people voluntarily leave the area, preferably at night, and said that plans were in place for police to reclaim the East Precinct. Quote, "It's time for people to go home. It's time for us to restore Cal Anderson and Capitol Hill so it can be a vibrant part of the community. The impacts on the businesses and the residents in the community are now too much." On June 24th, businesses in Capitol Hill filed a class action lawsuit against the city of Seattle over the handling of CHOP. And on June 29th, after another shooting, leaving 2 teen boys in critical condition, this pushed Police Chief Carmen Best to officially start moving police back to the area to remove the dwindled remaining members of CHOP. By the evening of June 30th, Mayor Durkin issued an executive order declaring any gathering in the area to be an unlawful assembly, and the next morning, 100 police officers moved into the area with tactical vehicles in an attempt to disperse the last of the protests. This, of course, reignited clashes between officers and protesters that continued for several days. In the months following, Mayor Durkin attempted to make changes within the police force, proposing a hiring freeze and a reallocation of 5% of the police force budget.
Yeah,
awesome.
Cool.
Thanks. The city council settled on reducing the police department by 100 officers, reducing the salary of Chief Best and other command staff by 40%. A day after this announcement, Carmen Best resigned as chief of police, and over the next 2 years, the Seattle Police Department lost about 25% of its total officers. And I think this was more due to, like, people just resigning or quitting.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, I don't know, like, in general, I feel like with police officers, like, when you go through something as gnarly as, like, the 2020, like, protests, you're like, wow, I'm fucking awful.
Exactly.
Like, they're asking me to fucking bulldoze over, like, innocent people.
Exactly.
And I think, again, as much as, you know, cops, there are a lot of cops who like that. I think there are also cops that are like, I don't want to fucking do that.
Yeah, that kind of have that, like, come to Jesus moment. And hopefully that is the case, and it wasn't like, they're like, well, it's bullshit to reduce the fucking whatever.
Yeah. And I'm sure there were some that were like that, too.
Probably.
I'd like to think.
Yeah, my hope and my wish is that they were like, wow, I've reflected on my actions.
Yeah,
I don't want to be a cop anymore.
I've learned. I've grown. Yeah.
Mayor Durkin did not seek re-election and fought a lawsuit over deleted text messages pertaining to the city's handling of CHOP. And there was, like, tens of thousands of text messages between her and Chief Best, between her and, like, other staff members about like what they were going to do about CHOP that had been deleted, presumably because she was, like, probably kind of embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's a no-no. And they got in huge trouble.
That was like the shit, wasn't it like Hillary Clinton and like the emails that she deleted or whatever?
Yes.
That's, I mean, it's not the same, but just reminded me of it. Like, when you're like in an elected power position, you can't really like
can't be doing that.
Delete shit.
Can't be deleting your messages, baby.
It's gonna look, and not only is it illegal, but like also you like can't. It's gonna look worse actually for you.
Exactly. There was some released text messages between Salt Lake Mayor Aaron Mendenhall and the district attorney Sim Gill. Sim Gill texted Aaron Mendenhall and was like, where are my police to protect my building when the July 9th protest happened? Jesus. And everybody was like, wow, dude. Wow.
And I fucking hate Mayor Mendenhall, dude.
Oh, she blows.
Fuck.
Her and her dumbass glasses. Her little stupid colorful glasses.
Yeah, quirky ass art teacher, my ass. Dude, it makes me so mad. Sorry.
No, I love
I've had 2 beers. And not anything for dinner.
We're feeling fired up.
I hate it. I feel like I've probably said this before, but at the Salt Lake
Oh,
airport,
I was literally just gonna say the same
it's
thing.
so fucking. I get so heated when I hear Mayor Mendenhall.
Erin Mendenhall.
Yeah, she like gets on there and she's like, check out our craft breweries and all of the fun art in Salt Lake City. And I'm like, you're letting fucking homeless people die on the street.
I know.
There's tons of homeless people who are dying
I
on the
know.
street. And you're like, come check out our craft breweries.
Yeah.
Fuck you, man.
There was, I think they took it out now, but there was one of those little announcements that she would make that was like, in Salt Lake City, we really appreciate our diversity. And I was like,
God.
you shut the fuck up.
Fuck off,
You're
Mayor
so
Mendenhall.
Oh, this dumbass bitch.
Yeah, dude. I cannot stand. And like, and it was even, I mean, it
hate
was
her.
pre-2022, but like, it's still happening to this day. But the like displacement of
Oh.
houseless people.
Oh my God, it's awful.
Is absolutely, it's rampant. Like
Yeah.
it seems like every other week they're like moving them around,
Yes.
forcing them
And
to leave places.
And where are they gonna go?
Where do you want them
Where are they
to
gonna go, Erin? My other thing, one time I called into her office to like, say to stop doing these, what were they calling it? Oh my God, they had like some name for it. Anyway, basically the like displacement of these encampments. So I called in to say something about it, and her like whatever dumbass little desk jockey guy was like, literally said to me, was like, well, some people choose to be homeless. And I was like, are you joking right now? This is what you have to say to me after like we've seen people's like all of their survival tools getting taken away, in the wintertime, in the deadly heat of summer. Like, you're telling me like, well, some people want to be homeless.
Literally, and it's like, okay, yeah, maybe there's like two people who are like, I like living the nomad life. But it's
Sure.
like, let's look at the majority.
Anybody
of people
else.
who are on the street. Are
Yeah.
really not having a great time.
No, I think that probably most people would never ever choose that
Yeah.
and are there
If
because
people had the option to have a house,
they would
most
probably
people would take
want to. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Erin Mendenhall's a dumb bitch. Simgil sucks. Also, this fucking asshole. Not only did he like, excuse multiple police officers that committed murders, including like one officer that had killed this guy's brother. It was awful. Went on to kill another person. Shoot another person while on duty. He also, Sim Gill, the district attorney, also is known for like throwing out like multiple rape cases and just like never pursuing them.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, he's
Utah, dude.
the worst. He's the worst.
Cool guy.
He sucks so fucking badly.
Fuck. I mean, just kind of all of our elected leaders in Utah are
Yeah.
trash.
Yeah, they really, really, really are.
We got fucking good old Spency Cox.
Oh my God.
Dude.
Oh my God. I can't even. The outrage that filled my body when I saw that he was gonna be fucking governor again. I was like,
Sick.
yeah, I was like, I just need to like go sit in a dark room for a little while. I'm so angry. I'm so angry.
Mutter to myself.
Everybody knows how much I hate that man.
Oh, yeah,
I hate that bald ass fucking bitch.
Buzz cut looking ass.
God. God.
He's they're all terrible.
I know.
It's, I don't know. I feel like we talk about it often, but it's like I feel like if you want like an elected position of power, there's got to be like something going on in your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Most people don't
Exactly.
want to control other people like that. And
Right.
people who do are kind of scary.
Right. And I think that most people who are like sane enough maybe enter it, and I'm sure we've said this a million times, but like we'll go into, like political positions and be like, oh, like not only am I selling my soul, but like any of the things that I thought that this stood for, any of the things that I thought I could accomplish are not going to happen. And it's actually like doing the complete opposite. So I'm leaving. I'm leaving this.
There's better,
Yeah.
or more realistic ways to actually make change happen.
Exactly. Like, I feel like I've actually seen people do this exact thing. People that I know personally who, try to go into political positions and then end up actually just like creating like a mutual aid type group or something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, again, like realistically on the ground help you can actually give people people that doesn't a desk of
It
people banding together and making mutual aid groups.
right, and it like accomplishes what you want to accomplish easier actually, and like on a more impactful scale, I would say. Like, as I've shouted it out many times, Salt Lake, I think it's just called Salt Lake Mutual Aid now. At the time it was called Salt Lake COVID Mutual Aid, but I mean, that's a grassroots group of just like regular Joes that started this when when COVID happened, and it's like still going to this day and has raised like shitloads of money, provided plenty of family with groceries, provided Navajo Nation with a bunch of food and PPE, and is like a thriving mutual aid network that has like supported many people in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I drop I always try to buy like an extra loaf of bread and like milk and stuff, and I try to buy the community fridge,
the fridge.
Just because there's one in Rose Park and
Yep.
one in Sugar House. So
Yes, yeah, shout out to those as well.
super cool. And yeah, and the cool thing is like you don't have to be like struggling to use it. Like you could just walk up and you're like when I went there and dropped off some stuff, there was like a fuck ton of like greens in there, like lettuce and stuff, and I was like, I'm just gonna take one of these. Like,
Yeah, you're like, I could use some lettuce.
I'm leaving stuff. It's like
Right.
Pick up, leave.
Take a penny, leave a penny. Yeah, that's the thing, is like, this is truly for everyone. Like, nobody's going to come up and question you about whether you deserve these resources or not, because everybody does.
Yeah, you deserve it.
Yes,
Yeah, it's cool.
it is. I have one paragraph left.
So sorry.
No. This was exactly what needed to be said. All that remains of CHOP now is a mural on the street reading Black Lives Matter, and the city has actually worked with the original artist to keep the mural touched up when it becomes periodically worn away from traffic. The end. Yeah.
What a cool thing.
Yeah, it was. And like, I mean, one part that I thought was really interesting was when the person had like gone into that auto repair shop and like lit it on fire or whatever, was that like there were people within CHOP that like restrained this guy and like, I actually don't know the gender of the person, restrained this person and like took care of it.
Yeah.
Like, they had things going, they had things happening in order to like protect people. But like, and like you were saying, people were arguing that like, well, people got shot, and it's like, yes, people get shot every day.
Single day.
Just because it happened to happen in this area doesn't mean it like had anything to do with it being CHOP or not. It was just like, people get fucking shot, which is awful and upsetting, but like, it happens anywhere. And they had free medical care right there.
And I think that too, it's like, I think we saw it too with the Christiania stuff, where it's like, it's so difficult to try to run an autonomous zone.
Yes.
In our current climate.
Exactly.
Because there's people who want to take advantage of it. There's people who want to, like there's people outside of the autonomous zone who are still living under capitalism, who are still struggling, and who have kind of been unfortunately taught that like you gotta do this kind of stuff to like get ahead.
Right.
And it's I don't know. It's difficult to continue something like that when you're kind of constantly under attack from the outside forces.
Exactly. And I think also there's people who maybe are not like necessarily educated about this sort of thing. And I don't mean this in like they're dumb idiots. I just mean like they haven't sought this type of education out, where they don't necessarily understand like what this is and what the goal is. And so they're like, it's fucking party time.
Literally,
and then
it's like, it's anarchy. We can go do whatever we
right,
want.
exactly. They like misconstrue what fucking anarchy means, and they're like, it's a festival, it's a street fair. And I mean, but you could see like the good parts of this: free meals, homes for the homeless, free health care, artists creating, people being able to have free speech, and like give people sitting and listening to speeches on the street about like, the difficulties and class struggle and racial struggles. And like there was like they call them like teach-ins, right? Like it was like, okay, this person who, you know, has a lot to say or is educated in this specific thing is going to come and like give us a talk, and we're going to sit on the street and like listen to what this person has to say. Like there's so many wonderful merits of this that like, and it, you know, it's unfortunate it ended how it did, but
yeah, it kind of got overshadowed.
I think so. Yeah. I think that like, because even now, like the articles that pull up are like, fucking it was crazy. And, you know, I mean, I was fairly easily able to find lots of articles with like really positive things to say about it. But like, I think that there's a lot of people that still have this idea that it's like, it was, you know, crazy violence. 2 minutes.
Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, I think it kind of harkens back. I feel like I might have mentioned this on the podcast before, but I read a book once called Tribe by Sebastian Junger. And that book, I feel like, is so good. I will personally mail anybody a copy who wants it, because it's literally, the whole thing is talking about how we've become isolated and we're not supposed to live like that, and we've forgotten what community is, and like it talks about people with PTSD and soldiers having to like reintegrate into a society that is so separate after being so close with the people around them. And I think that that's also part of it, is like we don't understand the importance of community anymore.
Yes.
And we live in a culture that's so individualistic that it's hard for us to conceptualize what community living looks like.
Right. I think I've said this on the show before, like on one of our like first couple of episodes, that like American freedoms and American independence is actually like, okay, yeah, it's the freedom to, I can talk shit on my leaders, I guess, or whatever, without like getting slain in the street. But truly, like American freedom and American independence is like the separation of yourself from like the collective, and the separation of yourself from community, and like our independence becomes alienating. Our independence is like, you're so independent that like you don't receive community support anymore. You're truly quite alone in this country. And you know, clearly any efforts to try to create community support are like shut down as quickly as possible. But yet, you know, every single time it's like America and freedom and independence. And it's like, at what cost though? Because, and what does that even mean? Like,
yeah, because it's like one of those things, like, it's funny, Ian and I were actually talking about this recently. I was like, you were like, grow up being taught that like America is free and we have all these freedoms and these rights and whatnot. And it's like, well, a lot of countries have rights and freedoms.
Right. Exactly.
In America, we have, I guess, the freedom to die from medical issues because we can't afford healthcare, and the freedom to be brutalized by police. And hey, that's a whole other topic of like police overreaching like even the constitutional bounds and stuff.
Exactly. Like, and it's like, okay, glad that I can like wear a pair of jeans and not a skirt as a woman while that's all happening.
Yeah, no, literally. You're
cool.
Like, wow,
and like,
I'm so free.
Don't get me wrong. Yes, I am grateful for the things that I have. I am grateful that I can have green hair and tattoos and be openly gay. That's cool. But I'm also fully aware of like the nightmare situation that is this country, and the fact that like, I just, it would be foolish to not point these things out, because I think that's as wonderful and great as it is to have the minimal rights and quote unquote freedoms that I have. Like, this is all, I think, a bit of a facade to like cover up the fact that like we're being systemically oppressed in ways that are well, you know, maybe less secretive now, but like, you know, our health insurance, our health care, our education is, you know, systemically fucking orchestrated to make us believe America's a great country. You know, the high school to military pipeline, our prison stuff, like the idea of like our personal freedoms that we have is like this beautiful facade that they've put up to like cover up the fact that like it is a fascist country. It's just like you can wear jeans if you're a woman or like, you know.
Yeah, no, and it's funny too because it's like these examples are showing that some of those freedoms that we assume we have aren't even true. Like,
yeah.
I think back to fucking Breonna Taylor. It's like she was in her own home. They did a no-knock search and she fucking died. And it's like, is that freedom? Is that liberty to
exactly
fucking get shot in your own home?
That's like I mean, you know, we have the right to bear arms, and I don't know if Kentucky is a stand your ground state, but like if somebody breaks into your home, you are allowed to defend yourself with a gun in America. That is what was done, and that was used to justify firing, I think, 32 bullets and killing Breonna Taylor in the process. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the freedoms that we say that we have or that we claim that we're given, like, we don't even actually have anyway. So, like, freedom of speech, we don't really have freedom of speech. People are getting arrested. People are losing jobs for speaking up about Palestine being a genocide. People are, you know, losing things over saying that Israel is committing a genocide against the Palestinians right now. People on college, I mean, this whole thing also made me think about the more recent protests on college campuses for Palestine and how horribly these younger people were treated on these college campuses, and like, where's the freedom of speech now?
Yeah,
you can kill people. You can hit people and kill them with your car in the state of Utah if they're protesting. What happens to what is my freedom of speech doing then? Like,
what's like my freedom to protest? Like,
yes, that's like what one of the first fucking like things is that like you are allowed to protest against a government that is misrepresenting
it says
you.
in I think the Declaration of Independence that like if you have a tyrannous government, or if you have a unlawful or unequal government, like you have the right to rebel from it.
Yes,
you know? Like,
yes.
It's
but again, it's like these rules don't apply.
Yeah, it's that and it's one of those. Yeah, it's like it almost feels. It's like that classic thing of like someone who has like a "Don't tread on me" sticker next to like the Blue Lives Matter sticker,
exactly.
and you're like you're missing the point, the idea.
You actually have no idea what that means. It's like, you know how people will say the whole like pull yourself up by your bootstraps without realizing they're like missing the entire half of that.
Point of that. Yeah. No, literally, it's the Monopoly, right? Like Monopoly was started as a game that literally it was supposed to show the errors in capitalism, and then it became like fun game where you own everything.
Yeah, right.
It's
isn't it silly?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, we've talked about it a million times.
I know, but we're gonna keep talking about it,
and we're gonna keep talking until the planet's on fire. Dude.
Yeah, which it is, by the way.
It literally is.
Thinking about our friends and family in LA. I do have family in LA as well as friends out there, and yeah, so sorry. Hope you're all staying as safe as you can, and for those of you that are not safe, I'm terribly sorry and very sad. And
good thing to donate to is some relief efforts up there.
I'll post,
going back to our other
I'll post some stuff. I guess to close it out, support your local mutual aid fund. I'm sure that there is. Again, for Salt Lake, their Instagram is just Salt Lake Mutual Aid.
Yeah. Like SLC Mutual Aid or something on Instagram.
And then I believe on Instagram there's also SSC Bail Fund, which is, you know, a collective effort to get bail for people, to get them out of jail in a timely manner.
Typically protesters.
Yeah, yes. And I received another letter from my correspondent in prison.
Oh, nice.
Correspondent? Sure.
Yeah,
that's a fine way. My pen pal, my buddy. So if you want to join that, it is the Prisoner Correspondence Project.
Yeah,
is that right?
Sounds right.
I think that's right. Look them up on the internet, and yeah, it's been a really, really awesome thing that feels very fulfilling to my heart. So
that's cool.
Anyway,
yeah.
The end.
Well, let's plug some things.
Yeah.
Twitter.com is @RemarksPod.
Instagram is @RemarksPodcast.
You can follow us or subscribe to our Patreon. We post bonus episodes. We just did one that was a fun little. We were rating the hotness of dictators.
That one was funny. That was very funny.
That was fun. That was fun. I was shocked by a few of them, honestly.
Me too.
It was Stalin. Stalin shocked me. But so yeah, those are always fun. You can get some bonus episodes. And my personal Instagram is T_Lace_19.
My personal Twitter is @PhoebesElise. Probably posting there less and less, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Listen to Taylor's music.
Yeah, just TAYLERLACEY. I have a song about the protests. It's called "Measure of a Man."
That's true. God, that's a fucking good song.
Thank
God
you.
damn it, that's a good song. Gives me chills every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Okay,
love you. Bye.